Okay, once again, I welcome you all in this day 2 class. So as you can see, in this day 2 class, we will be focusing on one of the main concept, as you can see here. Just a second, let me just open my screen. Just a second, guys. Okay, so now let's start. So this is day 2. Here, as you can see, the topic, we will be focusing on the basic I/O devices. Okay, so you all might be knowing a little bit regarding Arduino. I hope so. If yes, then that's okay. If you don't know, then also it is okay, no problem. So I'm just thinking like you have a very basic idea, very basic idea, or maybe you may not be having the idea. Okay, so what is the meaning of this I/O? That is the first thing which you have to understand. So this I/O basically stands for input and O stands for output. Okay. So in this day 2, what we'll be doing, we'll be trying to understand the different small kinds of, or you can say a very simple kind of I/O devices, input-output devices, which we can interact with Arduino, and we can start doing small projects. Okay, so that is the intention of day 2. So what I will be doing is, first of all, I'll try to make you understand that in Arduino, where these I/O devices can be connected. Okay. Then what I will try to do is, I'll try to make you understand what are the different examples of I/O devices are available in the market. And I will try to take some examples. And in those examples, I will try to elaborate and make you understand that how these devices work and how they are interacting or how they are getting connected with the Arduino. So that in the later classes, when we are trying to connect those devices with the Arduino, you should not have any issue. Okay. And similarly, in the third part regarding the output devices also, we'll do the same thing. We'll come up with few output devices and we'll show you that how it can be connected with the Arduino board. Okay. So with this small basic idea, I'm going to start the class. Okay. And if you have any issue, you can continue putting in the chat box. I'll try to explain. So if you look at the I/O devices, there are different kinds of I/O devices available in the market. Okay. Now, which kind of I/O devices you have to study? It's like you are in an ocean and you have to select which one you have to study. So the basic way will be you take project 1. Okay. In project 1, you look for which kind of I/O device you want. You study them. Then again, you take project 2. In that, you look which kind of I/O device is required. You study them. And in that way, if you keep on doing more and more number of projects, you'll come to know about more and more number of I/O devices. Okay. So just for the sake of showing you, I have shown here some I/O device this side and some output device this side. Okay. So this is basically, you can say, a switch. Okay. So you all know what is switch. I mean, when you press it, you are sending a signal to the Arduino board. This is also a kind of switch also. This is called potentiometer. So you might have heard about variable register in your 10th 12th classes. Variable register. Okay. So that is also referred as potentiometer. You might have heard the name of that also. Now this, if you look here, this is called motion sensor. Okay. This is one example of IR sensor. Okay. This is your motion sensor. This is your IR sensor. This is your, you can say, mic or sound sensor. And this can be referred as your temperature sensor. Okay. Similarly, there are many different kinds of sensors available. Okay. So there is no, I mean, starting point or ending point from, I mean, which one you have to study first or which one to study last. Nothing like that is there. You can start with any sensor and you can end up with any sensor. So it totally depends upon which kind of project you are planning to do. Based on that, those sensors you have to study. Okay. Similarly, in the case of output part also, there is no starting and ending. Like you can see, this is a very important output device that is called relay. Okay. So if you want to make a kind of like you want to automate your home. So in order to automate your home, surely you will be always using the relay. Okay. So it's a very important and very famous output device, which basically you will find at many places. Okay. So this is a simple LED, which is also an output device. This is your LCD, liquid crystal display, where you can show some displays and all, depending upon like whatever you want to show as a display. These are different kinds of motors. Okay. So we'll see what kind of motors we have, and using these motors, what kind of projects we can make. Okay. So this is your speaker. Okay. And this is again a kind of, you can say, output device through which you can send some signals outside. Okay. It comes in the preliminary stage also. So what with this part of which I'm trying to make you understand is there are many kind of input output devices, and it's not that you have to learn this first and that first. It's like you can start with any one of them. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, first of all, I'll start with sensors, and I'll make you understand what is sensor, and let's see how we can connect those sensors with the Arduino board. Okay. Now, in the last class also, sir tried to make you understand about the Arduino board, and I'm sure you have got a very good idea regarding that. So I'll just give a small brushing kind of thing so that you can get a better picture, so that when I'm trying to connect any kind of sensor or output device with the Arduino board, you should have the idea. Okay. So in this complete Arduino board, there are main parts which you should know. Okay. And the first one is this one. Okay, this is called USB plug, which will be connected with your computer. Okay, and from this you can pass your program inside the Arduino board, and this also gives the power supply as well. Okay, so with the help of a cable, you can connect the Arduino board with the computer, and you can write the program. We'll come up with those things also in the future, and you will observe that whatever program we are writing, that program will be flushed inside the Arduino board, and it will come inside this part. Now what is this? You can keep it as like in a very simple way. If I say it is your brain. Okay, so this complete Arduino device is controlled by this brain, and the name of the brain is microcontroller. Okay, and the specific microcontroller which is connected here is called as Atmega 328. Okay, so this is a very famous microcontroller, and yesterday's even sir made you understand what is microcontroller. Okay, so basically, if I say in one line what is microcontroller, it's a device which is used to control the things. Okay, so means whatever kind of data is coming inside, it will process it, and it will generate the result, and it will, by generating that result, is basically controlling the things. Okay, it is containing a reset button also. So sometimes you will find the reset button here, sometimes you may find the reset button here. So it doesn't matter where it is, but the role of reset button is to restart the program. So whatever program you will be putting from computer, it will go to the brain, and if you want to restart that program, you have to press this reset button. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. Now, along with this, there are some more points which you have to understand. So the most important part is, in this complete Arduino board, three things you have to keep in mind. One is the digital pins, I'll write in short as DP, the analog pins, AP, and the power pins, okay, PP. I'll repeat once more. Three different kinds of pins which you have to keep in mind are digital pins, analog pins, and the power pins. Now, what is the meaning of digital pin, analog pin, and power pin? Let's understand. So digital pin means those pins through which you can pass digital information. Now, what is the meaning of digital information? Digital information means it will be either always in the form of zeros and ones. Okay, nothing else you can pass from here. Only you can pass zeros and ones. And if you don't understand zeros and ones, you can understand it as 5 volt or 0 volt. Okay, so in the terms of electronics, we say 5 volt as 1 and we say 0 volt as 0. Okay, so you might have heard about that our computer understand only binary. Okay, so binary means 0 and 1, but in electronics this 0 and 1 actually means 5 volt and 0 volt. Okay, clear? Getting my point, guys? I hope this part is clear to all of you. So you will observe that whenever we are trying to connect any kind of sensor to this Arduino board, it may be of digital nature. So if it is of digital nature means it will be generating results which will be in zeros and ones. Okay, so we have to understand about the digital pins. Now there is one section that is called analog pins. Okay, now in analog pins the values are of different kind, which actually varies from 0 to 1023 for this microcontroller. It is not always 0 to 1023. Okay, it varies from different microcontroller. So for this Arduino board, the analog values will be varying from 0 to 1023. So we'll see which are those pins which are analog pins. And third one is you called as power pins. Power pins means those pins through which you can supply the power. Okay, like suppose if you want to connect any sensor, then in order to activate that sensor, you will be requiring some power supply. Okay, and that power supply you can get from this Arduino board. Okay, so let's try to understand where is the digital pin, where is the power pin, where is the analog pin here. So while I was explaining you might have also observed that at some place it is written here digital pins. Okay, so pin number 2 to pin number 13, these are the digital input output pins. Okay, and if you can observe in some pins a tilt symbol is there. Can you see that? See guys, a tilt symbol is there. So that are having some special feature. We'll discuss about them later on. And that special feature I'll just tell in short, that is called PWM feature. So we'll see later on what is the meaning of this PWM feature. For time being, you can write down. So those all pins which are having this tilt symbol, like you can see in 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, these are having tilt symbol. Okay, so those are having extra feature that is called PWM feature, that we'll see later on. So these are the called as digital pins. Okay, here as you can see in this section we have analog pins. So how many analog pins we have? We have A0 to A5, means total 6 analog pins we have. So we may have some sensor which may be generating analog data. Okay, so that analog data has to be passed to these pins. Okay, so suppose if you have a sensor which is generating digital data, so that digital data will have to be passed to these pins. Okay, so if this basic idea is clear to you, and if you look at any sensor, then you can decide, okay, let's first of all understand whether this sensor is a digital sensor or an analog sensor. So if it is an analog sensor, we have to connect that with the analog pins of Arduino. If it is a digital sensor, we'll have to connect the digital pins of the Arduino. Okay, and these digital pins and analog pins are basically trying to insert data inside the microcontroller. Okay, means what I'm trying to say is from pin number 2 to pin number 13 and this A0 to A5, these are the channels through which whatever these sensors are sensing, that data can be inserted inside the microcontroller. Okay, so this is really a very important point, guys, that what are these pins doing actually. So the answer is through these pins you are inserting the sensed information. Means what is sensor? Basically it is a device which can sense. So sense means a data will be generated. So these are those pins through which those data can be inserted inside the microcontroller, which will internally come inside the brain and get executed depending upon what program is inserted through the computer through this USB plug. Okay, so I hope now you have understood what is digital pins, what is analog pins, what are the use of these digital pins and analog pins, what kind of data can be transferred through digital pins, what kind of data can be transferred through analog pins. I hope these all points are clear to all of you. Okay, one more part is power pins. Now what is power pins? Power pins which supply power. Okay, so this section which you are looking here, this is generally dedicated to the power pins. Okay, so power basically means two things. One is power supply of plus and power supply of minus. Okay, like suppose if you know in your home if there is a bulb So bulb will be having two wires, and one wire you will connect with plus, and another wire, if you connect with minus, this bulb will glow. Yes or no? So if you want to power up anything, we require power supply. So this Arduino board is internally having some pins through which you can provide the power supply. Okay. So you can observe here, there are different kinds of power supply pins present here. So basically there are three categories. One is called as ground pins. So ground pins you can connect, understand as minus, and these are two different kind of plus power supply. So it can, if there are different kind of sensors, so there are two different kind of sensors. One sensors are getting powered with the power supply of plus 5 volt, but there are some sensors which are getting connected with the power supply of plus 3.3 volt. Okay, so in that case you have to connect this 3.3 volt pin, and I'm just reminding you, suppose if there is a sensor which is getting powered by 3.3 volt, and if you give the power supply of plus 5 volt, in that case that device will be you can say it will start not working. I mean its working will be gone. It may get damaged. Okay, so it is I mean informed in earlier only to you guys that if you are purchasing some kind of sensor, you check carefully whether that has to be powered with plus 3.3 volt or you have to supply with plus 5 volt. Okay, so I'm just stopping a bit at this place, and just I want to know whether you have understood digital pins, analog pins, power supply pins, their importance and all, and you can just put in the chat box if you have understood. Yeah, okay. So, okay guys, so now let's proceed forward. I hope you have understood. So similarly, there are different kind of board also. If you want, you can purchase this Arduino board also. Here only difference is that you can use your own your smartphone you have, that data cable. That data cable you can use here. Okay, that is one important thing, one change. And second is here you can see the controller present is of different type. Okay, so this is the, you can say this is the SMD version of the controller. The size is getting reduced here. Okay, and it looks a little bit neat and clean. Everything is all inside, and it looks very neat and clean. Okay, and here whatever components you are looking here, these all are called as SMD components. SMD means surface mounted components. Okay, surface mounted devices. Okay, but in earlier case it was not that surface mounted. Okay, so you can purchase any, now depending upon which one you have to purchase. Okay, there are different, yesterday also sir told you, so you can purchase any one as per your requirement. Like suppose if you are interested in doing lot many projects and you want to connect a lot of sensors and things, then it's better to purchase Arduino Mega in starting only, so that you can connect even one sensor also and even 10 sensor also. Okay, but generally what I advise is that if you are really interested, you should go and purchase one Arduino Uno and one Arduino Mega. That is more than enough. Okay, but suppose if you are having some kind of money issues and all, it's better you just buy Arduino Uno and start doing small projects. Now what is the importance of having this Arduino Mini and Nano and all, and this LilyPad and all? They are specifically for different kinds of projects. Like suppose if your project is going to take a very small size, then if you connect Arduino Uno, then the size will be very big. So it's better to purchase Arduino Mini, which will be of small size and your product will look decent. Okay, but if I talk about properties and all, so if you understand Arduino Uno, you can understand all of them. Okay, only the difference will be that where you can connect what, that's it. Okay, so I advise everyone that if you have not purchased and if you are interested in doing these things practically, at least get one of them and start practicing. Okay, so now let's proceed forward. Later on we'll again come back to these all and we'll see, okay, for this kind of projects we have to go for Mega and all. Okay, we'll see that. So today's class, as I told you, we are going to understand about IO, input output device. So two things you have to understand today. So I request everyone that if you're not getting these two things, you have to ask me. First thing is that if you look at sensor, then this sensor, how it is sensing, I mean what kind of environment feature it is sensing. Like suppose there are sensors which can sense an object, an obstacle. Okay, some sensors will be sensing the temperature. So you should know first thing that what kind of environment variable that sensor is sensing. Okay, so by looking at the sensor, you should know that okay, this sensor is for sensing this kind of environment. Means environment means I'm telling temperature, pressure, moisture, flame, or you can say gas. There are many things. There are many kind of environmental factors which we can sense. Okay, so first thing you have to understand this. Second thing is you have to understand the pin diagram. Pin diagram means if you take any sensor, that sensor will be sensing from the environment. Yes, and after sensing from the environment, it has to connect with the Arduino board. Then how to connect with that Arduino board? There should be some kind of wiring concept here. So that is referred as pin diagram. So you have to understand these two concepts today, so that when in the future we are doing some kind of practical project, you should understand, okay, this is the sensor which can sense this kind of environment. And if I have to connect, then these are the pins which you have to connect. Okay. So these two things you have to understand. So keep in mind, guys, if you have any confusion, you can write in the chat box. Now, before explaining you any sensor, let's first of all understand what do you mean by sensor, and specifically in the terms of Internet of Things and embedded system, what you really understand by the term sensor. So basically, if you go for a definition, then sensors are basically a kind of devices which can be used to sense or detect any physical quantity like force, pressure, strain, light, anything. Okay, depending upon the requirement, even these days scientists are developing different kind of sensors. If you remember, and if you are watching your smartphones, you will see different kind of sensors are there. Like suppose if you put your smartphone in your pocket, the screen light gets off. Yes or no? Means actually there is a sensor which understands that okay, the phone has been kept in a place which is dark and the person is not viewing it. So it's better to switch off the screen light. So what I'm trying to say is that sensors are those devices which are used to sense and detect what? Some physical quantity. It can be force, it can be pressure, it can be anything. It can be any environmental factor. Okay, so you may find a sensor for with that environmental factor, or you may not find. Okay, so if you don't find, it means there are scientists busy doing creating those kind of sensors. Okay, now after sensing that that factor, that environmental factor, what happens? It converts the desired output, okay, into some kind of electrical signals, and these electrical signals are passed to the microcontroller. If I say Arduino, getting my point, guys? Now, what is sensor basically? It is a device which detects some kind of environmental factor, convert that environmental factor in kind of electrical signals, and that electrical signal is actually passed to the Arduino. Okay, so we'll see different kind of sensors and we'll try to understand that okay, these are the environmental factors they can sense, and we will see what kind of electrical signal is generated. Now this electrical signal will be of two types. It can be an analog kind of, or it can be digital kind of. So this electrical signal I would like to clarify here itself. So it can be an analog data or it can be a digital data. Okay, so after sensing, it is generating what? It is generating analog data or digital data. Okay, so this is the you can say the job of a sensor, to detect the environment and convert that information into the electrical signal. Okay, so if you have understood this, then only it's better we can proceed forward. I hope you have understood till here. If yes, you can write in the chat box, we'll proceed forward. So I hope you have understood, guys. Okay, fine. So if you reply as early as possible, I mean, we can proceed forward as soon as possible. Okay. Now, if you look at different kind of sensors, there are many different kinds of sensors. I'm just showing you some of them. Okay, and these all sensors are very, you can say, used nowadays in different kinds of academic projects. Okay, I'll say academic projects. Clear? So for the academic project, these sensors are very good. So my intention is to make you understand two things. That is, these sensors, what kind of environmental factor they are sensing, and after sensing, how they can be connected to the Arduino board, and what kind of data it is generating. I mean, what kind of electrical signal it is generating, whether it is an analog signal or it is a digital signal. So these two things we'll try to focus on. So what I'm going to do is we cannot explain all of them, okay? Because if I start explaining all of them, will complete session will be over in explaining the sensors only, because there are many sensors. If I say 500 also, that is less, okay? That many sensors are there, okay? So we'll see some of them and we'll try to understand how they work, and the two things which I told you, you have to focus on that. So let's see some of them. So one by one, I'll show you. So it's better if you want, you can just at least write down the name of these sensors. Okay, if you want, I can give you a minute of time. Okay, or you can take a screenshot so that you can search on Google and try to understand, or you can just know about that what kind of environmental factor these sensors are sensing. Okay, so that if in future you are trying to do some project, you can just keep in mind, okay, these are sensors which we can use. Okay, but don't worry, if you have any issue that you are trying to do a project and you are stuck which kind of sensor has to be used, we'll help you in that. Okay, now let's proceed forward. So first and the most you can say very basic kind of sensor is called as IR sensor. Okay, so that can be of many ways, many different variation you can find. So you can see this is IR sensor. You can find there are different variation also here, but the basic will be, it will be having two components present here, and basically this is the two component which is used for sensing purpose. So now, as I told you, two things which we have to learn is, first one is what kind of environmental factor these sensors will be sensing. So this sensor is actually sensing the different kinds of obstacles. So here I'm trying to show you that part. Okay, so this is containing a IR receiver and a IR emitter. So you can see this is the infrared emitter. So this emitter, when it falls on object and when it reflects back, it can be sensed. Okay, so this IR sensor are those sensors which can sense what? It can sense the obstacle. Okay, am I clear to all of you? So any kind of obstacle it can sense. Only one kind of obstacle it cannot sense. What is that? So whatever infrared sense these rays are going on this obstacle, suppose this obstacle is able to absorb them. Okay, so if the absorption will take place, what will happen? The reflection will not be there, and in that case that obstacle will not be sensed. Okay, other than that, any kind of obstacle where this reflection will occur, that obstacle will be sensed by this IR sensor. Okay, I hope you have understood what this simple IR sensor is able to sense. Okay, so better you can write down, the sensor can sense the obstacles. How it can sense? It actually follows the rule of reflection. Okay, now if you look at the other end, it has 3 pins. Okay, so just now I told you two things we have to understand regarding every sensor. Okay, so in starting one or two, maybe I will have to explain a lot, but other I am sure you will be able to understand yourself. Okay, so if you look at the 3 pins present here, one is called as VCC. Can you see that, guys? One is called as GND and the third one is called as out. Okay, so this VCC actually, and what this GND and what is out, these three you have to understand. Okay, so if you remember, while I was explaining you Arduino, I told that there are 3 different kinds of pins. One is called digital pin, one is called analog pin, and other is called power pin. Okay, so in power pin we have VCC, we had GND. Okay, and VCC of 2 category, plus 5 volt or plus 3.3 volt. I hope you understood this part. Okay, so this you will observe that whichever sensor we will be seeing, they all will be containing VCC and GND. Now, why it is having this VCC and GND? So this VCC and GND is actually to activate the sensor. Okay. So when you supply, I mean, if I take a very simple example, like suppose if you want to switch on the bulb, then if you give plus and minus, then only this bulb will be activated. Yes or no? Similarly, if you want to activate any kind of electronic device, keep in mind, at least you will require VCC and GND. Clear, guys? This is really very important. So with the help of this VCC and GND, we'll activate the IR sensor, and once it is activated and if there is obstacle, based on that it can generate the output. So this OUT stands for output. Okay, so it can generate output from this part. Okay, and this is the output which we have to pass to the Arduino board. Okay, so I hope you're getting my point, guys. So if you have understood this part, you can note down that this IR sensor has 3 pins, and these are the 3 pins, and this out is actually connected with the Arduino board. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Now let's proceed forward. Now, as I told you, you have to also understand that how you can connect them with the Arduino board. So if you remember, I told you there are 3 pins, and the 3 pins, one is VCC, one is ground, and other is for the output purpose. So if you look carefully, the red wire is showing that it is connecting to the plus 5 volt here. Can you see that, guys? Okay, means this IR sensor works on the power supply of plus 5 volt. Okay, the black wire is used for connecting to the ground. Okay, so ground, there are 3 ground is in the Arduino board. One is here and 2 ground is present here. I hope you can see G and D present there. I mean to say, if you take any board, if you find anywhere GND written, that means ground, and you can connect the minus pin or the ground pin to that place. Okay, it is not that every time you have to connect here only, you can connect to this ground as well. Okay, so there is no confusion. So I would like to keep it very clear. Wherever you see GND pin, you can connect ground. Wherever you see plus 5 volt, you can connect the VCC pin there. Okay, and the third pin, which is your output pin, you can connect to any digital pin. Can you see that, guys? It is connected to pin number 2. So as it is connected to pin number 2, you can understand that surely this is going to be a digital sensor. Yes or no, guys? Going to be what? Digital sensor. Why? Because it is connected to the digital pin. So if any sensor, if I am connecting to a digital pin, surely that sensor is going to be the digital sensor. Okay, and if I'm connecting any sensor to the analog pin, that will be referred as analog sensor. Okay, so I hope you have understood how to connect the IR sensor with the Arduino board. Okay, so you can take the screenshot and keep it with you. In future, when we are trying to connect, we can show you again. And suppose if you want to draw the diagram, you can also do that as well. Okay, so in your copy, make sure you be prepared with these things for the future purpose. Now let's see the next sensor. So what I will be doing is, in every sensor, I'll be explaining you these two concepts. One is what kind of environment it is sensing, and second is that after sensing, whatever it is generating, how you are passing it to the Arduino board. Okay, so that is called the interaction part. Okay, now second one is your ultrasonic sensor. So from the name only, ultrasonic means it is generating what? Ultrasonic waves. Okay, and based on this ultrasonic wave, it is again in the category of sensing the obstacle. Okay, so it can also sense what? Obstacle. So better all of you write down, this also sense what? Obstacle. Okay, so it can sense what? Obstacle. Now how it is sense obstacle? So you know the obstacle sensing is again following the same principle, that is reflection. So you can see there are 2 circular dots present here. Okay, so one is called as transmitter for ultrasonic waves, and other is called receiver for ultrasonic waves. Okay, so once you give the VCC, you can see here VCC is present here and ground is present here. Okay, so once you provide VCC and ground and you activate this sensor, what will happen? from, I will just name it 1 and 2. Okay, so from 1, the ultrasonic waves will start coming out. Okay, and if there is an obstacle, they will start reflecting back and it will fall on the second slot. Okay, and here it will be received. Okay, and based on that, it will be working. Okay, now we have two more pins here. One is called as trigger pin and other is called as echo pin. Okay, now this trigger pin and echo pin, what it does, it actually helps you to control when you should send the ultrasonic waves and when you should receive the echo pins. Okay, so basically you can say these trigger pins are used for controlling when the ultrasonic waves has to be generated. Okay, and these echo pins are those pins which actually receive the signal and send to the Arduino board. Okay, so you can say with the help of this echo pin, we are receiving the data, or you can say we are receiving the signals from the receiver for ultrasonic waves. Okay, so these kind of sensors we use whenever you are trying to sense the ultrasonic, when you are trying to sense the obstacles. Now you will say, sir, that why two different sensors are doing the same kind of job? But actually there are some kind of limitations. This IR sensor you cannot use in the sunlight. Okay, means if suppose you want to you are creating a project where you want to sense some kind of obstacle and that obstacle is in the sunlight, in that case IR sensor won't work. Okay, there are some limitations of the IR sensor. So generally IR sensors are used in the indoor environment. Okay, so for the outdoor environment you can use the ultrasonic sensor where it can sense the obstacles. Okay, so depending upon different kind of scenarios, we can go for IR sensor or you can go for ultrasonic sensor. And there are some more different kinds of obstacle sensors for different kinds of environments, because you all know that there are different kinds of environments. Yes or no? So I hope you have understood about the ultrasonic sensor. So let's now proceed forward. Now, if you want to connect the ultrasonic sensor, this is the way. So if I just say you understood now where to connect VCC and ground. Now trigger and echo, can you see it is connected to pin number 11 and 12. And if you look carefully, it is connected to 11, which is actually a PWM pin. So here we will be requiring a PWM pin. So later on when we learn about PWM, you will understand why we require a PWM pin. Okay guys, so just for time being you have to understand that actually this is a digital sensor, so that's why we are connecting them to the digital pins. Okay, and if you want to connect, you have to select one as a PWM pin and another you can take any of one of them. Okay, it will work. Okay, so when we'll do practically you will understand better. Now let's see, one more sensor is called as DHT11 sensor. Now what this sensor is doing, this sensor can sense temperature and moisture. Okay, now suppose you want to use it in your home. So inside your home you want to know what is the moisture content or what is the temperature inside your room. Then both if you want, then you can connect this DHT11 sensor, and with the help of this sensor what you can do, you can get the information of temperature and moisture. Okay, so generally it has 4 pins. So as I told you, each and every one will be having 2 pins in common. One is VCC, another is ground. So here what you have to do, pin number 1 will be connected to VCC, 4 will be connected to ground, and pin number 3 is not connected. NC means not connected. Okay, and this pin number 2 is the one which is actually sending the information after getting sensed, and it is passing to the Arduino board. So you will observe that in the next slide, I'm connecting this pin number 2 to the pins from where data can be inserted inside the Arduino. So if you look carefully, you will understand. So can you see guys? So you can see VCC and ground is passed to the power pins where it is connected to 5 volt and ground, and the data pin is connected to pin number 2. Okay, So just now I told you, and I mean, now you might be getting a very basic idea that, okay, if I have a sensor, I have to connect in this format. Okay. So I hope this part is again clear to all of you. Now let's try to see one more sensor that's called rain sensor. You can understand, okay, like if you if there's a rain at your home, this sensor can detect and tell you, okay, there is a rain. Okay. So how it works? I mean, when the water droplets fall on this, okay, when water droplets will fall on this, it will send the information to this part. This part is basically explained here. Okay. And you can see again, it is generating two different kind of things. Okay. That is A0 and D0. I mean, it is generating even analog signal as well as digital signal. Okay. So you will find that there are some sensors which is generating different, both kind of values. I mean, both kind of data. It can be analog data also and digital data also. So the sensors are categorized into three categories. One will generate only digital data, other will generate only analog data, and but there will be some sensors which will be generating both data, that is analog data as well as digital data. So in this case, it is going to give you the environment data of rain. Okay, or suppose anyone is putting water also, it can be detected as a water droplets. Okay, so suppose you want to know about the water droplets, whether it is falling or not, you can use this rain sensor. Okay, so if you have understood this, you can now very easily understand, okay, that in the next slide I'll be seeing that pin number 4 is connected to the power pin, VCC, ground pin, and if required you can connect this one to the analog part and this one you can connect to the digital part. Yes or no? It's very simple, guys. Okay, so just to give you a clear picture, I have just come up with the diagram. Okay, so you can see here we have just connected the analog pin here. We have not utilized the digital pin. So it's up to you. If you want, you can connect both of them, but there is no benefit of connecting both of them, because if you connect analog, then you are getting the information. If you're connecting digital, you are getting the same information. So what is the need of connecting both of them? Okay, but there are different scenarios where different data can be generated. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that the analog data is more, I mean, you can say is a better data. Better data means here you can get very accurate results, whereas the digital data is only on and off. Means if you're connecting it as a digital sensor, then you will get only two information, whether the rain is raining or not. That's it. If you want to know that how much rain is there and all those things, if you are interested, in that case, if you're connecting it through the digital channel, you won't get those things. In that case, analog information will be a better option. Okay, I hope you have understood the importance of having the digital part and the analog part. Similarly, a very important sensor that's called motion sensor, means like suppose you want that if there is a motion, like suppose at your home you want to I mean implement a camera which will take the picture only when there is a motion. Like suppose at your home near your door, if someone has come, then let's take a picture of that person and then send it to your smartphone. Okay, so in that case the camera cannot do it itself. It needs some kind of trigger. So in that case this motion sensor becomes very handy. Okay, so this motion sensor, what it will do, if there's any kind of motion, it will tell through the Arduino board by sending this output from here that there is a motion, and then the Arduino board will be triggering the camera to take a picture and then take that picture and send it to your smartphone. Getting my point, guys? So in that case this motion sensor will be helping you. So again you can see there are only 3 pins here. So there are variations 3.3 volt to 5 volt. So now whenever you buy this motion sensor, you have to keep in mind whether you are getting a power supply of 3.3 volt base sensor or a 5 volt. If you are getting a 3.3 volt, make sure guys you connect with 3.3 volt only, otherwise it will not work. Okay, similarly ground and output you have to connect. Okay, about this delay part and sensitivity part will come in the practical section. Okay, we'll be using somewhere the motion sensor, and there I will show you that how we can adjust this delay and sensitivity, and will make you understand the importance of this. Okay, so if you want to connect, you have to use this kind of. Okay, I hope you are now getting it very easily that how we have to connect the pins. Just can I get a yes on this, that okay, if you give any sensor to us, to sir, if you give us any sensor, we can now connect the sensors to the Arduino board. Can I get a yes on this? I hope you got yeah. Okay, guys. Okay, great. I hope now you understood. So I'm sure now that if I show you the next sensor, you can, if I even don't you show the next diagram, if I don't show you the next diagram also, yeah, sure, I'll give you more examples. Okay, don't worry. So if you look at this is called temperature sensor. Okay, so this is the part which will be sensing the temperature, and it will be sending the output from this part. Now, if you want it, if you want this sensing part to get activated, you connect VCC and ground to it. It will start sensing, and you can then connect to the output part. Now, if I just give you just a 10-second or 30-second time to imagine how you will connect this sensor to the Arduino board, I'm sure you might have imagined it. Yes or no, guys? It's very pretty simple. So if I just show you the next diagram, you will say, sir, that's the diagram we have imagined. Okay? Yes or no, guys? I am sure you'll be connecting. Yeah, great. Now you can see I am connecting the output pin to the analog one. So can I say that this is an analog sensor? Yes or no, guys? Okay. So one thing I am sure you have understood, that if I say define analog sensor, I am sure you will be able to you will be able to define it. So analog sensor are those sensors which are generating analog values, and analog values are those values which will be ranging from 0 to 1023. Now what is this and all? Don't worry. Actually these are advanced concepts. We in few days we will be explaining you this also. Okay, and I'll try to make you understand what do you mean by these values and what actually this value means. Okay, and why these values are very, very important. Okay, now let's proceed. So today's is a very simple task. Let's understand what the sensor is, what it senses. Now, if you remember, we have seen one more sensor which was sensing the temperature, and along with that, it was sensing even the moisture. So it's sure that will be a costlier one. So if suppose you want only temperature part, it's better to buy this sensor. Okay. When you want to sense both temperature and moisture, we'll go for that sensor. I mean the DHT11 sensor. You want only temperature, let's move to LM35. Okay. So I told you, depending upon your project, depending upon your idea, you will be choosing your sensor yourself. Okay, guys. Now let's move to the next sensor. That's called LDR sensor. LDR means light dependent register. Means the sensor will sense the light, and based on that it will generate the data. Okay, now if the light particles fall on it, okay, the best example is you might have watched a day-night match, cricket match. You might be interested in day-night match. So if you look carefully in the day-night match inside in the stadium, you will find that there are poles on 4 sides or 5 sides, and as soon as there will be night in the playground, you will see that players are not having any problem to play. Why? Because there is enough amount of light. And how it is done, how it is managed there, with the help of these kind of sensors. Means this sensor detects the amount of light particles present, and depending upon that, the controllers will be activating the LED bulbs present here, which will be minimizing the amount of light particles. I mean, it will be actually helping. Like suppose if your sun is setting, means what? The light particles are decreasing. So this LDR sensor will sense how much light particles have decreased, and based on that, many LED bulbs will be switched on, so that to manage the amount of light in this stadium. So I hope you might be now getting a very great picture that how the embedded system is used nowadays. Okay. So I hope you have got the idea of this LDR sensor. Now, if you look carefully, now this LDR sensor comes under two flavors that you can generate, that okay, whether there is light or not light. So if you want to know that, better connect as a digital part. But if you want to know how much light is there, in that case, you have to apply for analog part. Okay, so it's up to you. I mean, if there is very less light also, then you can say that there is light. Yes or no? Are you getting my point? So what I'm trying to say is that this sensor comes under the category of that sensor which is having both the feature of generating analog signal also and digital signal also. Okay. So now if you want to connect, you can connect like this. So you can see we have used this LDR, and this LDR is connected to VCC and ground. Okay, and one register is connected here. We'll explain you later on that why this register is used here. Okay, that comes under the circuit diagram and all. And you can see we are passing that all data to the analog pin A0. Okay, now you might be observing why I am always taking A0. Okay, don't worry, you can connect A1 also, A2, A3, anyone, all are same. Okay, just for the explanation part, it is A0, you can take any one of them. Okay, so I hope, I mean, my intention was to make you only understand this part. Leave this part, this is not required for time being. I hope you have understood that how to connect the LDR. This is also a kind of sensor only, you can say, in the field of embedded system. Okay, it's a keypad. Okay, so what that keypad is doing, whenever you press any button, that data will be coming and going inside the Arduino board. Okay, and you might have written some program which can detect the press of 1, 2 and 3 separately, and based on that you can do anything. So there are different kind of projects, like suppose you want to create a password controlled vault kind of. Suppose at your home you have some kind of box and you want to make it password controlled, that only you can open, no one else can open. In that case, you can use this keypad and you can go for some kind of some random keys, and once that key is pressed, then only that vault will open up. Okay, so this also can be considered as a sensor. Okay, so with this, I hope you have understood, you have got the idea which I wanted to make you understand, those two ideas, that okay, if you are having a sensor, what kind of environment it is focusing on, and second is that if you want to connect with the Arduino board, what are those pins which you have to focus on. So I hope these two parts is clear to all of you. I hope yes. So now let's proceed forward and let's try to understand the second part, which is called as actuators. Okay, now what do you mean by actuators? Now let's see the definition only directly. So what is actuator? So this actuator is basically a machine, again you can say, or you can say it's a device which actually helps to actuate, or you can say it helps to control something. Okay, like if you I've even given you two examples, but the best example will be if you remember, have you seen some tap which is controlled automatically? Means if you put your hand, the water will start flowing, and if you remove your hand, the water will stop. Have you seen that kind of tap? I am sure you might have seen somewhere in some mall and all. Okay, if you go and if you put your hand, even in washrooms you might have seen. So if you go to the washroom, once you are outside, you will see that automatically the water is coming out from there. So basically what is there is actually some kind of actuators, a controlling mechanism, some kind of motor is present inside which senses you and starts doing something. Okay, I mean it can be different kind of task. Okay, I will not say doing something, I mean doing the task which is used, I mean which has been told for it to do. Okay, so there are many kind of actuators, and using these actuators you can do various kind of tasks. Means what I'm trying to say is that if I say this is Arduino board and this is sensor, then this is half. Means if you sense something, it is something like this. Suppose this is a human being, and suppose a mosquito is sitting on your hand. So what you will do? Once a mosquito is sitting on the hand, means the sense organ will sense it. It will send the information to the brain. Let's suppose I'm telling it as Arduino here. And this brain, what it will do, it will tell to the other hand that you strike this. Okay, and when you strike, this mosquito will be dying and the task is done. So when you are trying to kill the mosquito, you are doing some kind of mechanical job. You are a controlled job is done there. Yes or no? So that is called as actuation here. I hope you're getting my point, guys. Okay, so this all is maintained, or you can say controlled, by the program present inside the Arduino board. So what Arduino board will be doing, it will be having some kind of program which you will be write, which we will be teaching you. Okay, so it will sense the information, it will process the information, and based on that it will do some kind of actuation. Okay, and when sensing this three things are present, then you can say that you have created a embedded system. Okay, so if anyone is asking you the basic definition of embedded system, it is a system where you will find these three things. Okay, so if you don't find, it is not the complete embedded system, though people may say that it is embedded system, but if it is a complete embedded system, it should have these three things. Okay, so I hope now you also understood what do you mean by embedded system. Am I clear to everyone? You can write a yes in the chat box. I'm now proceeding forward with some examples of embedded system. Sorry, some actuators. So one very interesting is relay switch, which you will be seeing many places. Okay, so wherever you see some kind of automatic, like if you might have seen smart home concept. What you do, you go to the YouTube and just type smart home. You will observe that there are many things going inside the home automatically. So there, anything which you want automatic, there comes the role of relay. It is an actuator. What it does, it controls the output devices. Now let's see this small case study. So here what we have done, I have connected a LDR. So this is LDR actually. Okay, so this LDR is connected to the Arduino board, and through Arduino board I have connected this relay switch, and relay is connected to a bulb. Okay, so this case study is trying to make you understand is, suppose you are trying to do something like this. Suppose you are at your home and you don't want to switch on the bulb and make it off and on. You don't want to do that. You want that if it is daytime, the bulb should be off. If it is night time, the bulb should be on. You want that simple thing. So what will happen? In that case, you all know that LDR is the sensor which is doing that task. Yes or no? LDR can sense and tell you whether it is day or not. Okay. Based on that, you can write a program and you can tell this relay to switch on this bulb and off and on. Okay. So this relay is actually what? It is getting controlled by this Arduino board, and it is eventually controlling the AC appliances. I will not say bulb, I'll say AC appliances, any kind of AC appliance. It can be bulb, it can be your fridge, it can be any AC appliance you know at your home. Okay, any appliance. It can be fan. You all know you have a fan at your home, you have AC at your home, you have geyser at your home, many things are there. So any kind of AC appliances can be controlled at your home with the help of this way. So maybe at every time you may not require LDR, but sometimes you may require LDR, sometimes you may require some other sensor. Okay, like for example, suppose there is a fire at your home, how you will come to know? So suppose you have a fire extinguisher at your home, and suppose there is a temperature sensor at your home, then what you can do, you can purchase the Arduino board, connect this temperature sensor and connect this fire extinguisher. If there is a temperature, like suppose a high temperature, or you can even take a flame sensor. You know that if there is a fire, there will be flame. So flame sensor is also available. So you can connect this flame sensor and temperature sensor with the Arduino. They'll give you data, and based on the data, what you can do, you can start the fire extinguisher, or you can do one thing, you can start the alarm as well. Okay, you might be knowing, you might have seen in movies also, once there is a fire somewhere, the alarm comes out. Yes or no? So actually this kind of embedded system is placed there. So I hope you have understood the importance of relay and how important the relay is. So every AC appliance, if you want to control automatically, you will require relay switch. So we'll try to show you one example and make you understand that how this relay switch actually gets connected. Okay, maybe here you might not be getting that how it is connected, but don't worry, in the practical session you will see that. Okay, now this is called DC motor. Now you know, I mean, you might have heard about robots, yes or no, car robots. This in this pandemic time, you might have in the news you might have seen some students or some scientists have developed some kind of car-based robots which can go to the pandemic area. It can take the temperature of the person. Okay, so that what will happen? It can detect and tell whether that person is having fever or not. So what will be the benefit? The doctors will be safeguarded. Yes or no? Now in that case, the robot has to move to that patient. So if anything has to move, it should have what? Wheels. And you all know that if anything has to move through wheels, it needs what? Motor. Yes or no? So what the engineers did, they connected joystick with the Arduino board. Now you know joystick, left, right, forward, backward, you can do those things. Now joystick information is passed to the Arduino, and that information is passed to the driver of the motor. Okay, that's called L29 3D. We will show you in the practical part also, don't worry. And through this, you can control the movement of the motor, left, right, forward, backward, whatever you want, you can do it. Okay, so this will even practically do one project and show you that how we can create a complete robot which can move itself somewhere but wherever you want. Okay, so that is the importance of this DC motor. Now there is one more very interesting motor that's called servo motor. Okay, now this servo motor works on the principle of PWM, which we'll be explaining you later on. But this motor is very, very important to understand. Why? Because if you're really interested in making something like this, then you surely require this kind of motor. Okay, so this servo motor, what it does, it helps you to give angle movement. Like suppose you want to move up by 20 degree. Okay, in that case, these motors helps you. Okay, so if you want to move 20 degree up or 20 degree left, right, whatever. I mean, if you are interested in making a humanoid robot, actually a humanoid robot is nothing. It's a combination of lot of servo motors. That's it. As you can see in the diagram. Okay, so there are lot of servo motors connected. You might have seen in the movie Transformer and all. I mean, that is completely fascinating. But if you really want to make your own humanoid robot, you actually have to connect many servo motors together. That's it. Or if I say humanoid robot is nothing, it is just a collection of servo motors. Okay, and DC motors as well. There are some DC motors also which you have to connect. Okay, so I hope you understood the importance of this actuator, which is very, very interesting. Okay, but if you want to do this kind of project, it becomes a little bit costlier because these servo motors are not very cheaper. But if you are interested, you can team up yourself in your college or somewhere and you can do it. Okay, guys, it's not that tough. So we'll try to make you understand how this servo motor actually works. So if you look carefully, there are 3 pins here, plus minus, you understand VCC and ground, and one is through which you are passing the data that how much angle you want. Okay, so that much angle only that motor will turn and will stop at that place. Okay, so that is the advantage of the servo motor. Now this is your LCD display. Now what is LCD display? This is also I'll not say actuator, but it is a one through which you can show something. Okay, so nowadays we don't have this kind of pin connection and all. I mean, we'll try to see whether we can go with explaining you all the pins, or we can go for a very simple one is there. We'll see which is available. We'll see that. But just for making you understand here, so you can connect Arduino board with LCD display. So suppose you want to write here hello, you can write here. Okay, you can connect some sensor, like suppose you have connected LDR sensor, then you can write here. You can write here light on. Okay, so whatever you want. I mean, this is for display purpose. Okay, so generally if you are creating any kind of project, you would like to display something, yes or no? So in that case, this LCD display will be very handy. Okay, so with this, I'm sure you have got the basic idea of input device and output device and their interaction with Arduino. Can I get a yes on this? Okay, so today we'll be stopping at this place only. And if anyone is having any query, you can write in the chat box. I'm ready to clarify your doubts here itself, and then we can wind up the session. No doubt. Okay, fine. So I hope no one is having any doubt. Then thank you guys. Still, if you have doubt, you might be having some email IDs and all. You can send your doubts there. I'm sure we will be replying you back, and we'll send you this video as soon as possible so that you can again go through this and be ready for the next class. Thank you guys. Have a good day, guys. Now you can leave. Thank you, everyone.